Shalom, shalom. Welcome back to Feed the Lions. So today we're gonna go on a little personal note about feeding these lions. Basically, putting a little bit more on the plate for these lions to eat, but also for these lions, us kings, to be aware of the times we're actually living in. And as you can see from the title, we got men be careful not to lust after a woman beauty. Okay. And that's very important, man, because right now in these times dealing with social media, I mean, the lust that they put out, us kings have to be very cautious not to lust after, these beautiful women that, portraying themselves as out here on social media. I'm going to play a video real quick. I don't know if it's going to have the sound on there or not, but I'm gonna play this quick video just to give us an idea of what I'm trying to relate to these lions, right? So give me 1 minute. Let me share this. Okay. So as we can see, that's just giving an example of, what I want to actually put on these lions' plate right now. And like I said, we have to be careful, man, because they out there, as we can see. So I'm gonna start at Proverbs chapter 20. I'm sorry, Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 20. It says, "My son, keep thy father's commandments and forsake not thy mother's law." Okay. Verse 21. Bind them continually upon thy heart and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall walk with thee. For the commandments is a light, and the law, for the commandments is a lamp, and the law is a light, and the reproof and instructions are the way of life. Verse 24. To keep thee from evil women, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Now, here we go right here. Check this out. Verse 25. It says, lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. So, we kind of know that the modern day woman right now, the thing is with her is now with these flickering eyelids, right? So the Bible is telling you to be careful, and like he said up top, he said, my son, right? Verse 20 says, my son, right? Keep thy father's commandments and forsake not thy mother, the law of thy mother. So, like I said, we have to be careful, man, and just understand how these flirtatious women are out there right now. We have to be careful that our mindset is set in the right spot, because once we start going down that rabbit hole, it can lead into like pornography, which can lead to lusting over a woman, which can lead to other things, right? So as warriors and as lions, we have to be full aware of our whole area of where we at, and actually what we do and what we take in to our bodies and to our minds, right? So I'm gonna read verse 25 again. It says, lust not after the beauty in thy heart. Now we're going to get to that in Matthew's chapter 5, right? But when he says lust not, meaning that it's okay to look at a woman and her beauty, right? But let's not take it no further than that. When it says lust, it means to go to the point where pornography is put in place. Because, during pornography, you see the beautiful woman, but also you seeing sexual acts being done. She exposed the whole Aunt your mama, as it say. So there's something that, and that's the lust that he's talking about. Now, for you just looking upon a beautiful woman and admiring her beauty, there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what the good Lord gave us. He gave us eyes, and we are attracted to women, and women are attracted to men. But we want to make sure that we have the right mind state when we looking at a woman and the beauty that the Most High blessed her with. So it says, neither let her take thee with thy eyelids. So we have to be very careful about that. Verse 26. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and adulteress will hunt for the precious life. So, and that's what's happening. There's a lot of adultery that's going on out there, a lot of fornication that's going on out there, because, brothers and sisters are not in their right state of mind. They're not in the right state of mind of the law. They're not conscious of the law, right? And then with this type of society that we live in, it makes it even worse, because right now it puts it on that crystal ball. Right? Once you put it on that crystal ball, it just take a few clicks, and all of a sudden, here we go. You into this lustful state of mind. So you have to be very, very careful, brothers. Very careful. I'm gonna continue on. I'm gonna get the book of Matthew's chapter 5, and I'm gonna read verse 28. Now, in Matthew 5 and 28, the Most High lays it down, and he tells us, to be fully aware and fully conscious of what we're actually doing. Verse 28, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her have committed adultery with her already in his heart, right? Meaning your mind. So that's why we put out there to tell the young lions as well as the old lions that pornography is not a road that we should go down. Pornography is not spiritually being connected to the Most High God. And that's something that we have to be very careful of. I just showed a few videos of, women just exposing them bodies like that. Now we know that our women are supposed to be dressed a certain way according to the law. So right then and there, they completely without the law. But once again, as men, we look at a beautiful, luxurious woman. But we have to be careful. Once again, we have to be careful not to take it to a lustful state, because the Most High says right here in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 28, it says, "But I say unto you," and this is what should be coming to our mind. Once we, everybody scam over, social media, and they just throw it at you. It's funny too, because I was telling this one brother, I was at the job, and I was telling him, he was trying to show me some type of, like a pornographic thing. And I was like, dude, I don't even deal with pornographic, pornography. And he's like, all right, cool. But Lord behold, all of a sudden, my phone started to throw up pornographic images on my phone, because we know they listen through the phone, right? So I'm like, damn, where did all this come from? And I remember the conversation I had with the brother. And right then and there, I was like, damn, we got to be real careful, because this devil is slick, real slick. So this is one of the scriptures that should pop in our mind if we ever get that urge, or if we just, scamming, through our social media platforms, or, on the computer or whatever it is. We need to keep this in mind. But we also can't be afraid, to look upon a woman's beauty. So to just keep that in mind, brothers. Don't be afraid to look at a woman's beauty, because they out there and they showing everything. But stay within the boundaries of that law. Verse 28, once again, it said, "But I say unto you that whosoever looketh upon a woman to lust after her have committed adultery with her already in his heart." All right. So now let me give a quick example of a lustful heart. Okay. Let me get Revelations. I got down here. I got Revelations 12 and 12. Let me see what this is. Revelations 12 and 12. Yeah. So, like I said, we got to stay within the right state of mind. So Revelations 12 and 12 says this: to be conscious of, brothers, to be conscious. It says, "Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." See, and yeah, another thing that I want to put brothers on too, by reading this one scripture, we have to understand that it says that he has but a short time. Now, he's going to use all the tools in the toolbox. And believe me, the woman is probably his number one tool in the toolbox to distract brothers or to take brothers off. See, as young lions, and as lions, period, of the nation of Israel, we have to be very careful and conscious of this, because he said that he has but a short time, right? So with that short time, then he's going to come out with the whole kitchen sink. And the woman is his number one tool of distraction. Funny, think about the movie, what's the movie with the red dress? Matrix, right? Think about the movie Matrix. As the brother was going through his training, they had threw a little glitch in there, right? Woman with the red dress caught his attention that quick. Bam, my man had the gun to his head. See, that's how we got to look at it, and that's how we got to address it. Especially dealing with social media. We have to address these things. And like I said, even then, on social media, you can DM, certain women, right? Hopefully they're women, But we got to be careful with that, because that distraction is definitely there. Because it says, like he said, having great wrath, because he know that he have but a short time. All right. We get Ecclesiastes. Get the book of Ecclesiastes, and verse 7 and verse 25. Keep that in mind, brother. He has a short time, so he's gonna come out with the whole enchilada. All right. Verse 25. I apply my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness and folly, even the foolishness of madness. Okay, so now this is Solomon. Solomon is telling you that he didn't seek it out, right? He seeked out the wisdom, he seeked out the wickedness, the folly, the foolishness, the madness. He didn't search everything out. Remember, this is for our learning, Lions. Okay, this is definitely for our learning, right? Verse 26. And I find more better than death the woman whose heart is snare and net, and her hands as bands. Whosoever pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. See, got to be careful. That's his number one tool. All right, verse 27. Behold, this I have found, said the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account. Now, this is what Solomon said. Solomon said he didn't find out one by one all the accounts, then all the folly. So now he's passing this wisdom down to, the children of Israel. Verse 27. Verse 27. And I found more bitter. I'm going to read 27 again. And I found more bitter the death, the woman whose heart is snared and net, and her hands as bands. Whosoever pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Verse 27. Behold, this have I found, said the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found. So we know that's Yahushua, right? But a woman among all these have I found not. Once again, that woman, that distraction. Brothers got to stay keen on that. Got to stay alert. Got to stay aware. So Solomon telling you that he found one, which was Christ, Yahushua, out of thousands of men. But a woman among all these have I not found. Okay, brothers got to be keen on. Go back to Genesis chapter 3. Go back to Genesis chapter 3. Go over it again. Just understand the concept and how things went down, and then take that and then start to manifest itself into today, which is called 2026 and beyond. Okay. Go to Judges real quick. Book of Judges, chapter 14. Book of Judges, chapter 14. I'm going to start at 1. Now, check this out. Now, just like I said, it's not to bash the women. I'm not here to bash the women. I'm here to keep brothers on alert. I'm here to keep brothers, on their head on the swivel when it comes down to just looking and admiring a beautiful woman. But we know, like I said before, it says Satan has but a short time. So I just want to bring certain examples out dealing with this distraction, right? That we have to keep our head on a swivel with. And that's dealing with Samson. You know what happened to Samson and Tamath. Judges chapter 14 and verse 1. So now I'm going to give these examples, because another example I have to give on dealing with the lustful of the heart. I'll get that to second Samuel. But anyway, Judges chapter 14 and verse 1. And Samson went down to Tamath and saw a woman in Tamath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Tamath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Now I'm going to read this and then I'm just going to have a little comment behind it. But check this out. Verse 3. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samuel said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. See, now that's when he went into the lustful of the heart. He went beyond admiring the beauty of the woman, but he actually went into the lustful, because he knew that this was unlawful to deal with other women from other nations. And his mother and his father told him, look, if there's any one woman within our tribe, within our people, rather than dealing with these uncircumcised Philistines. See, that's an example of a lustful heart. That's what Christ was talking about in Matthew's, right? Chapter 28. See, that's what I'm saying. Let's not get it twisted. I've heard a lot of brothers had tried to put that out there, saying that, you looking at a woman and you already committed adultery with her. No. Let's put some light on this. See, that's why I wanted to put it on the plate. Let's put some light on it. So Samson, at this point, here he has this lustful heart. He has this lustful desire for this woman, right? To the point where he will go outside of the commandments. But this was all of the will of the Most High God too, right? This particular incident, this was the will of the Most High to put this lustful heart in him for this Philistine woman. Okay. Verse 4. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time, the Philistines had domination over Israel. Okay. Let's keep that in mind. Like I said, my point of bringing this out is to show the lustful of the heart. Okay. And how Samson went outside the commandments. All right. Now I'm going to go into 2 Timothy. Right. We're going to 2 Timothy and show you another example of a lustful heart, to the point where it went outside the commandments of the Most High God, right? 2 Samuel chapter 13, and I'm going to start at 1. So here we are, Anan and Tamar, right? And Anan and Tamar is, let me read it. Verse 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. See, now here we go. Now, he loved her, but he loved her in a lustful way, because he knew that was his sister. Right? And we know in the book of Leviticus that, you're not supposed to look upon the nakedness of your sister. Verse 13. And Amnon was so vexed that he felt sick for his sister Tamar. Now, check this out. This brother, he said he felt sick. He was sick. That much lust, that much evilness that was in him for the lust of his sister. Reading on, for she was a virgin, and Amnon, though it heard from him, though it hurt from him to do anything to her. Okay, verse 3. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shema. I've got to excuse me on names. Shamael, David's brother, and Jonadab said a very subtle man. Was a very subtle man. So he was an evil brother, right? Because he gonna put this thing in his brother's head. Verse 4. And he said unto him, why art thou, being the king's son, learn from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. Okay. And Jonadab said unto him, lay down on thy bed and make thyself sick. And when thy father come to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I may see it, and eat it at her hands. So Amnon lay down and made himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar, my sister, come and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat at her hands. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, go now to thy brother Amnon's house and dress him meat. All right. So this brother already scheming, right? And the other brother didn't put this, this devilish thought in his head. So I'm gonna skip down. To verse 10, just get to the point. And Amnon said unto Tamar, bring the meat into the chamber, that I may eat of thy hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them unto the chamber of Amnon her brother. And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her, and said unto her, come, lie with me, my sister. See, this brother even said, my sister, come lie with me. See, now that's lust to the highest level right there. To the highest level. And that's the example I'm giving how Matthew chapter 18 is not talking about this type of lust. Well, it is talking about this type of love. Don't take it to this level. But to admire a woman's beauty is another level which stays within the commandments of the Most High God. So I'm having this example as just how lustful it can be in one's soul, and actually into one's spirit, to commit and breaking of the law. See, right here, this is the highest level. So this brother knew. He said, come lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, nay, my brother. So listen to this. Do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly. See, do not thou this folly. But check it out. He said, and I, whether shall I come? So like I'm starting over. And I, whether shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. See, the sister was smart. She was trying to get away from this brother. She was like, oh, just go tell the king, right? And he won't hold me from you if it's right. because he knew how David was. He knew that David was going to, hell no, this ain't going to happen, period. What's wrong with you? So she was just trying to maneuver her way out of it, but long story short, he raped the sister, and you should go and read what happened after that, because Absalom had a perpetual hate for him and was going to put him to death. But I just wanted to bring that out as an example, okay, as an example on how, having a lustful heart. Yeah. On having a lustful heart would be, though. I thought I had lost y'all for a minute. Forgive me. So, just wanted to put a little food for thought on the table for these young lions, man, and just be careful, when we out there on these social media platforms, or just even out and about and just seeing these women and how they are today. We always got to keep in mind that, the law, statutes, and commandments come first before all things. So hope that was a little bit, edifying as far as food for thought for these young lions, man. And tune in to the next episode. Shalom.